that breath hot as hell. But I don't completely hate the cold because cold means winter break. And if y'all are in college, you know what I'm talking about, bro. Them finals be hitting you with them. Hitting you with straight combos, bro. Nothing but combos to the jaw, to the chin. And I don't know about y'all, but I be praying, waiting for winter break. Just so I can step out of Satan's den for at least a month and just breathe, bro. And enjoy that. I know it's a universal experience that almost everybody has. Everybody wants to go back to school after that long ass break. College students, I don't know about y'all high school. My homeboy does not get that luxury, bro. Going back to school for him is like stepping into a gauntlet, my nigga. Going back to school for him is like walking into the sixth circle of hell, bro. Because he finna get some otherworldly work, bro. He finna get pieced up worse than Jake Paul did that old man standing on noodles for legs, bro. Mike Tyson, he damn near finna go toe to toe with the Samoan Akatsuki, bro. The Samoan. So bad. So boom, this all starts in final season of last year, bro. There was this specific girl that my homeboy had been talking about the entire year. I swear to God. And at this point, it started to turn into an obsession, bro. Because every time we'd be hanging out with him, he would have a photo of her Instagram on his phone, looking through her photos, or talking about how fine she is. We wouldn't be able to get out of any conversations without him bringing this girl up, bro. But the whole time, he would never approach her. And that's because this homeboy specifically is a pillow talker, bro. He talking a whole lot of game about how he go run down on this girl and he want her so bad, but the moment gets too big, every single time he go up, bro. Nigga's screen be shaking underneath the lights, bro. Got the whole crowd in his ears, bro. Like we playing NCAA 25. He would never put up a shot to save his life. So we were extremely surprised when we found out that he was lining up a shot, bro, getting ready to put up that three. Until we found out that thing was 99% heavily contested, my nigga. Because after 3 days of investigation, that's all it took. We found out she in a locked-in relationship, bro. She been with a dude for 4 years, bro. High school sweethearts and everything. She is the mother to his child. She's pregnant the whole time. And once we mentioned all of that to my homeboy, we were thinking that he already knew that, bro. But this nigga was the dullest crayon in the box, bro. Because she had an obvious baby bump, bro. Every single time she wore a short shirt, you could see it. And she wore that most of the time. He thought she was just fat. He said he thought she was a plus size shorty. And he don't discriminate. He wanted... Wait. What the fuck? We not gonna break up any families. And I'm not gonna let my homeboy break up any families. Until... Now, you feel me? Me and my homeboys would love to make it seem like we told my homeboy to back off because we're model citizens and great people and we're just stand-up guys. His first boyfriend was a big-ass young nigga, bro. And he wasn't just a young nigga. He was a young Samoan, bro. And if you know anything about Samoans, I'm not touching one with a 10-foot pole. I'm not a small dude myself, but I am 100% certain a Samoan nigga can pick me up by my collar and throw me 30 yards down the field. I don't know what is in that water. I don't know what y'all... Those Samoan football players. But those Samoan men are monsters. And the second we found that out... You got it, brother. It is not that serious. You on your own. You on your own. Seen somebody before, but then they end up doing something kind of big that affects your life, and then you start seeing them in places that you've never seen them before. Like they start popping up everywhere. That's exactly what happened to my homeboy. Because when he goes into class for his math final, guess who he sees sitting right next to him? Big burly Samoan nigga, bro. The same Samoan nigga who's with the girl that he's been wanting, you feel me? But of course, this Samoan dude has no idea who this guy is because he never tried his girl, you feel me? But once my homeboy sees him, he realizes that this big, strong Samoan dude has been the smartest dude in his class the whole time. This is the dude that's always shooting his hand up in the air asking Teach to get the answer and shit. This is the dude that everybody asks to cheat on. And he's sitting right next to him. So my homeboy took this golden opportunity to do the exact same thing. You feel me? He felt like the heavens opened up and told him that he could pass this quiz today. Because without this nigga, he was not gonna pass. And the thing is, he already failed this class 2 times. And I don't know about y'all's college, but for my college, you only can retake a class 3 times max. So it was either make it or break it right here. You feel me? So he asked old boy sitting next to him if you feel me, he can help on a few answers. Nothing too crazy. He wasn't even asking for his full test, just a few of the answers, seeing if he could help him out. The second that he asked old boy, can he help him with some problems? Old boy acts like he just ran over his puppy, bro. Hit him with that.
What you mean help you on problems? You didn't do any of the chapter work by yourself? This is literally only chapters 6 through 8. You didn't even read those? That's so disappointing.
And he didn't stop at just degrading my homeboy, putting him down and not helping him with any of his work. He got up, walked down there and told the professor that my homeboy was trying to cheat.
Damn.
He should have Swiss cheesed him right then and there, because that professor went back to my homeboy and completely kicked him out of the class, bro.
Oh, shit.
Now, after all of this goes down, he comes back to the crib with me and all my friends, and he tells us all what happened. And we took that shit personally, because not only are we good looking and handsome and smart and have a whole lot of money and just good looking, we also are petty as hell, bro. If you go low, we are going way lower. There was a specific time that we made a nigga bathe in mustard and slide down the atrium. I'm gonna tell y'all that story later. Over some bullshit just because he called somebody a bitch. So at this point, we gave my homeboy the green light, bro. Go and handle your business. Because not only did he just make you fail that class and ruin your degree, you have been plotting on the mother to his child for an entire year. Go and complete that mission. We told him to do whatever it takes, bro. Put up as many shots as you have to, bro. Heavily contested. Of course, completely legally. Don't do nothing crazy. Don't do nothing weird. Work the best game that you possibly got, bro. You need to be LeBron in the finals right now, bro. I need to see a Steph Curry type of pull-up. No contest, no fear, splash. And he delivered, bro. Because when I tell y'all, this nigga started laying down A-tier game, bro. Game that can be studied for generations to come, bro. This was the best performance that I've ever seen, bro. He is the LeBron of pulling hoes at this point. Because he started with something subtle, you feel me? Every time she would walk down the hall, he would compliment something about her. Compliment things that no one else would. Like her nails, compliment her shoes, compliment how her hair is made. Really subtle details. Then he started delivering edible arrangements to her dorm door almost every single day. And he had no shame. He put his name on the edible arrangements that he was delivering for about 2 weeks. Now, you would think that he was doing that to be petty. He was. But there was another reason. He was doing that to gauge how loyal this girl is. Lock in. Because by putting his name on the edible arrangements, he's running a 50-50 bet on getting decked by a Samoan nigga. And he was willing to take those odds. Because if he got decked by old Samoan boy, he knows that that girl is loyal. She's telling her man about the edible arrangement. He's handling that. And there's no way that he's going to be able to get in the first place. But on the flip side, if the Samoan dude sees him and never even looks his way, then he knows that this girl is not loyal. She's not telling her man about the edible arrangements. He got a foot in the door. You feel me? 2 weeks passed.
Foot in the door.
The dude has no idea, bro. Every time he sees him, the dude's just looking the other way, waving and saying, "What's up?" Whatever. So my homeboy knows he is in there. Asking her where she going and everything, and she's going for it all, bro. Until
hey, y'all like the Gojo? Y'all fuck with this song?
The deep half-court
I
shot.
did this shit in April.
He saw old girl after class, put his arm around her like always, asked her how she been, whatever, and she just giggling at him, telling him to stop. She got a man, but my homeboy's ignoring all of that, bro. He has tunnel vision. He knows his goal, and then brings up the fact that she has a baby. And she starts talking about the baby, how excited she is to be a mother, whatever, cool. He's not worried about none of that, because he's finna strike. The second she starts talking about how much she can't wait to be a mother, he touches the belt and starts rubbing on it a little bit, you feel me? Giving it a little bit of a caressing. Now at this point, he's thinking he's in there, because if she don't want him, she's not gonna just let him touch on her stomach. But he had to go a little bit further to make sure it was green. While she's talking about the baby, letting him rub it, he bends over and kisses the stomach, bro. Kisses the stomach about 4 times. I don't know about y'all, but if I was also on board and somebody's kissing my baby inside of my girl's stomach, but as you can probably tell, she was going, bro. She started giggling, telling him to stop. But while she's talking, he gets up, rubs the stomach a few more times for good measure, and says,
"What's happening, Owen?"
That's risky. That was risky. I'm not gonna lie, that's the craziest shot of 2024. But it was green, bro. It was cash. Can't hate the player, hate the game, bro. It was cash. She was completely going. And at that point, he was in there. He invited her back to the dorm, undressed her, lotioned her up, and went crazy. You feel me? Went crazy. But that wasn't enough for him. Yes, he got the girl that he's been waiting for. Yes, he got to get back on that snitching ass nigga. But that wasn't enough for him, bro. He smelled it. He wanted worse. He wanted revenge. So while he was going crazy, with her consent, of course, he whips out his phone and turns the flash on and starts telling her to say his name, say his name, say his name. And she's saying it, you feel me? She's going, she's screaming it. But that still was not enough for him as he's going crazy, recording the entire time. He gets to the point of completion, you feel me? The point where he's finna let it all out. He takes it out and tells her, who's your baby dad? Who's your baby dad? And she's saying his name, his name. He starts going crazy.
That is insane. I ain't gonna lie. That's insane.
He takes
No.
the ends it and sends it to old boy.
Oh my God.
No shame, bro. He sent it to him on his main account. Ain't nothing stealthy about it. He 100% wanted him to know that he did it. And he perfectly timed it to when they would be leaving for the summer.
No.
And he lives way far from that campus, bro. Like 6 or 7 hours. Nobody around them knows who he is or where he lives, you feel me? So he goes home, bro, and leaves the beef there, bro. He lets the beef marinate for a few months. And this is where y'all are going to be super thankful that this story took place last year. So summer's already passed. And I know everything that happened to old boy when he came back to school. And bro, I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have done it if I was him, bro. The shit that happened to that nigga. But this is also where y'all are finna get super mad at me, because I gotta go fight crime. I do gotta go do something though. So I am not going to be able to tell y'all what happened when he got back to school today. But it is 100% on y'all when I do end up telling y'all that.
He always goddamn leaving us on.
No HVAC techs required. Thanks to our patented pre-charged quick connect line set, the system is ready to heat and cool as soon as you connect the indoor and outdoor unit. It's comfort with a twist. Plus, the system is
Tang gang, what's poppin', man? This your boy Tay.
Fuck,
Back
man.
at y'all again with another video.
I need a new yellow.
Peace, love, and abundance to everybody watching right now. Before we start, I want to show my gratitude for everybody that's tapped in right now. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and leave a comment, man, so you can get a proper welcome. If you're a veteran, you want to show love. All right, if you want to support the channel or yourself, I have some courses available, and I have a Retain Gang community that you can join if you want to dive deeper into your self-improvement, all right? So I'll leave my links in my description and in my pinned comments. But check this out. If you clicked on this video, that's probably because you resonate with the title, right? People called you weird, or they call you weird even till to this day. You know what I'm saying? It's because you're different. And I've learned to embrace it. You know, I'm not ashamed to say I'm a weirdo. And I'm not saying weird as in being a creep. I'm saying it as in the way I think and the way I live my life is unorthodox. You know, like for example, when I'm outside doing my grounding, you know, I'm around trees. I love trees, so I might sit next to a tree. You might see me hugging a tree. And I know to the average viewer, they might see me and be like, look at this grown 200-pound man with locks sitting over there hugging trees. Like, what's going on? This man crazy. This man is ill. But, you know, I've always been in tune with nature ever since I was a kid. Whenever I was going through something, I would always go for a walk in the woods where I would climb trees, man, and I would be at peace. It would bring me back to balance. You know what I'm saying? And even back then, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that it worked. So just me going out into nature, that was like me going back home. You know, I'm sure you guys can relate too. You probably did a lot of things that people looked at you or they frowned upon, or they was like, oh, this dude is crazy, or this girl is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you like this. I try to be normal. And I try to be normal. I try to think normal. I try to be someone who just lives life like the everyday person. I can't do it. I just can't, man. Like, it agitates my spirit. I tried, you know. It is what it is. I gotta accept who I am. You know, you guys gotta accept who you are too. So I'm saying, but knowing what I know now, I look back and I'm grateful for who I am and the way I think. I would never change who I am. I would never change how I grew up. I wouldn't change anything about myself. I love who I am. All right, guys, you gotta love who you are. Forget what people gotta say about you. You know, the main ones that got something to say about you are the ones that have issues within themselves. Okay? A person that loves themselves, they're going to radiate love. They're going to give you that same energy. You see, but it's something about your weirdness that agitates people. Right? It exposes things and it makes them insecure. Because remember, being your true authentic self is the highest form of frequency. So your light is going to expose other people's darkness. Okay, because the whole point is your light. Their light is so dim, so they can't activate it.
Who in here?
The catalyst.
Who all in here?
Sauce
Bill, what's up?
But yeah, man, I talk to myself. I'm sure you guys, let me know in the comment section, do you talk to yourself? I'll be at home, I'll be walking around the house, walking to different rooms, and I'm talking to myself, asking questions to myself, and I get answers. But see, you're not crazy though. You're talking to your higher self. You see, that voice in your head that you hear, that voice in your head that's been with you since you was a child, that's you. That's you on a higher frequency. So I'm saying, so you're not crazy. You're tapping back in to your, I guess we can call it your Siri, right? Siri, you ask Siri a question and she'll give you the answer based on what she knows. That's what you're doing. You have a built-in Siri, right? Which is your higher self. You can ask whatever you want and the answers will come to you. People probably call you weird because you meditate. What you doing that for? What you sitting cross-legged for? What you doing all this breathing for? You'd be surprised, man, the things that you know now and how you'll be judged for it. And these are things that are helping you improve yourself on every aspect. For we live in a world that's so backwards, where good is bad and bad is good. So the things that you're doing to improve yourself, people are going to look at you crazy. You can probably relate to this too. When I started changing my diet, started eating healthy, man, I got all types of crazy. You guys can probably relate to this too. Whenever I started changing my diet, I started eating healthy, stopped eating meat. Oh man, people thought I was crazy. People thought I was, what you got going on? What's the problem? I'm just trying to cleanse my body, cleanse my temple, and change my eating habits. And I tell people all the time, it makes me feel great. I feel energized. I don't feel that sluggish. I have clarity of thought. And it's like they don't understand. You see? But you got to embrace being yourself. All right? Because you didn't come back here to fit in with anyone. You didn't come back here to be validated. You came back here to shine your light and create your reality. But also raise the vibration here as a collective. And in order for you to do that, you got to be different. Right? Why would you want to be like everybody else anyway? Who wants to walk around with no identity? You think you're like everybody else. You're following the herd, the pack. You see? I've always been proud of the fact that I can go against the grain. I can think for myself. I'm not a follower. Right? I've always loved that about myself. You got to start loving every aspect of yourself. That's very important. Don't ever let anyone make you feel ashamed for who you are. Okay? That's a foul. Right? That's a penalty. That's a flag. Don't let nobody get into your psyche, get inside of your energy field, and start changing things around. You weird for a reason.
My name is Brendan O'Brien. We're a pretty busy family. We have a 7-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter that go to school here locally. Our kids have tons of activities that they're constantly doing. It's nonstop go, go, go. Around here, when we've gotten power outages, they've been mostly during winter storms.
A lot of you guys, people probably call you weird or think you weird because you do seed retention. Because you started to hold on to your seed and build that energy up. Calling you weird, you crazy. Why don't you release it? It's normal. People making jokes about it, making little slick cracks at you about it. Oh, he must be built up. Yeah, no, he got a lot of built up tension and stress. He want to just let it go. He want to explode. You know what I'm saying? But people make jokes and they make fun of things because deep down, you trigger them. You expose the insecurity inside of them. Because deep down, people know what they should and shouldn't do. And they see you doing something that's better than yourself, and it makes them feel insecure. Because they know that they don't have the discipline right now to make that happen. Okay? Always pay attention to what people project towards you, because that's what they're feeling inside. All right? Anytime you're trying to better yourself, people that have something to say about it, you're striking a chord within them because they wish they had the discipline to do what you're doing. But if I could be honest with you guys, when I was younger, I did struggle with a lot of my gifts early on just because I had no one to express the way I felt or the way I thought. I couldn't express it to anyone. You know what I'm saying? Because no one would have understood what I was going through. So a lot of my gifts, I had to suppress my gifts just because I wanted to fit in, you know, with the family or just with the people that I was around. And I'm sure a lot of you guys did the same thing. Like you were conflicted. The way you felt, the way you thought compared to the world and what they were trying to teach you or tell you how to be as a person. You know what I'm saying? So it can be very confusing for us at a young age, but you're going to go through some things in your life that's going to make you embrace that. You're not going to be afraid of it anymore. You know, when I went through my awakening and I started really living on my own, being able to think for myself, being able to just do everything for myself, this is when I started gaining more confidence and activating my gifts again. You see, because when you're around certain people, you can't embrace your weirdness because they're not going to understand you, especially when you're young. They're not going to give you the space to express yourself. So this is why it's important for you to get around people that's like-minded or isolate yourself, which a lot of us do. We isolate ourselves. You know, we're not outside like we used to be. You know, you might have a few friends, but a lot of us, I notice, we connect on social media. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us connect on social media because this is the only place where we can contact each other. A lot of us, you know, we spread out all over the world. Right? In my city right now, there might be a couple people here. You know, I met a couple people here, but for the most part, you go into the grocery store or you just outside around people, you're not going to meet someone that's on the same frequency as you. It's just not normal. You know what I'm saying? It's just because we isolate ourselves and we're doing the work. The people that's working on themselves, you behind closed doors, or you to yourself, building your energy up, right? Meanwhile, everybody else is outside giving their energy away or being used as vessels to harvest their energy. All right, so don't be ashamed if you watch this video and people calling you weird, people don't understand you. This is the right place for you to be, man. You're not alone. All right, that's a part of the journey. This is a part of the rites of passage. Okay, this is how you know that you're different. This is how you know that you have a bigger purpose. You have gifts. Your energy is very, very high. Your energy is different. You're a different being out here. Okay? So don't be ashamed of it, but embrace it. Grow into it. Learn to love it. Learn to love yourself. Activate yourself within. Okay? Trust. You're going to be put in your rightful place. Right now, in this time and day, everything is being shifted into its rightful place. Like-minded people are being grouped with like-minded people. Right? Sleep people are being grouped with sleep people. The wicked are being grouped with the wicked. Everything's being organized and sorted to be dealt with accordingly. Okay? So it's a beautiful thing, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't change who I am. I wouldn't change anything about myself. Yeah. You shouldn't feel like that. You shouldn't feel like you want to change yourself, especially if you like somebody else. Okay, that's the danger of today.
I have a quiet in the room.
Well, you know, on these platforms, and you're looking at people's lifestyles, and you're wishing at them, wishing you could live like them, wishing you had what they had, and you don't want to operate in that frequency because now you're getting away from your power. You have your own gifts. You have your own fortunes and fruits that you are supposed to obtain. But if you're so worried about other people, you can never get that. So stay on your path, man. Stay righteous. Okay? Elevate your mindset, your consciousness. Protect yourself. Don't let nobody get inside of here, ever. Don't ever let no one break down your confidence, break down your wall of stability. Okay, you got to keep your fortress strong at all times. I tell you guys, put that light shield around your body, and you program that shield with protection. Words are powerful, right? Your words have the power of life and death. So always speak your intentions into the atmosphere, so the molecules around you can be programmed accordingly.
Let me say something else.
Right?
Fucked up.
So with that being said, guys, I hope this video resonated with you. If you need to speak with me one-on-one, I do one-on-one consultations, so I'll leave a link in my description and my pinned comments. Y'all have a beautiful day, man. And I'm out. Peace.
Simon says, upgrade.
TerranceDraws.
Again, what's new?
You can't get ready to go first. Can't do it right now.
Up in the mirror and try to get things fixed.
What's wrong with CJ?
I don't know. You're gonna have lows now. You know that, right?
Ocho, he hadn't played well this year, Ocho. This is not a low.
Whoa. CJ Stroud had one of the best rookie seasons of all time last year. He had an entire community memeing the Carolina Panthers for not selecting him #1 overall, broke NFL records, and even managed to carry the Texans into the playoffs with a huge blowout victory. But somehow, following an offseason where the Texans doubled down on CJ Stroud, somehow this year he's having one of the worst seasons in the entire league. So what happened to CJ Stroud? Is it even his fault or his own team? Is he a product of poor circumstances and some unfortunate injuries? But more importantly, will CJ Stroud be able to turn around his season in time for a potential Texans Super Bowl run? Before we get to the content, we are less than 7,000 subscribers away from 1 million subscribers. So if you want to help us make this push to 1 million, make sure you subscribe and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. And now we get all that out of the way. PrizePicks' new feature has been making us so much money. We've been having a lot of success on PrizePicks, and now they finally launched live squares, meaning that squares will update in real time on the app in the middle of a game. So if you see a player being locked up on defense, you can take a lower square. Or if a player is on track for a generational game, you can take his higher square in the middle of the game. If you haven't signed up for PrizePicks, make sure you use my promo code MICROPHONE to get $50 when you make a $5 play to take advantage of this brand new feature. We've been dominating with our NBA and NFL picks, and I post them weekly on my Instagram @FlightMike and Snapchat FlightMikeSnap. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? We can't talk about how CJ Stroud fell off without discussing how he was once considered to be a possible top quarterback in the entire NFL. To start off, even though we now know CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft, that wasn't the consensus opinion at the time. In fact, if you ask those draft analysts, Stroud was the #2 quarterback to Bryce Young, who at the time was considered the hands-down #1 prospect in the entire draft.
Top of the draft, there's Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. How did you separate those two?
Bryce Young is just a magician. He can do things that no other quarterback in this class can.
Now, don't let recent history fool you. Bryce Young always was, and eventually would be, the #1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft. At least it seemed that way. But that's a conversation for a little bit later in the video. Because after the Panthers traded a haul of picks plus DJ Moore to acquire the #1 overall pick from the Bears, they drafted Bryce Young. Whereas CJ Stroud fell into the Houston Texans' lap at the #2 overall spot. And the rest was history, or so it had seemed at the time. These two quarterbacks will forever be linked together, just like Robert Griffin III and Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith, Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. Okay, maybe not that one as much. That was just a huge catastrophe. recently Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. In their rookie seasons, it was very clear who was the better quarterback. Bryce Young struggled putting up one of the worst rookie campaigns of all time. In fact, after the season, analysts were already busting all over Bryce Young. Look.
Stormed Bryce Young for 6 months saying I had him as a 2nd round grade, and I did get a lot of like, what the do you know? You're an idiot. What did I tell you? I said I didn't think the kid had the body or the lead. I don't think he would hold up.
What did you think I was talking about, you freak? But as for CJ Stroud, he was phenomenal. Not only did he put up the best rookie season since Andrew Luck, but he set NFL records. In a game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, CJ Stroud threw for 5 touchdown passes and an NFL rookie record 470 passing yards. The kid seemed absolutely unstoppable in his rookie campaign. Even in the playoffs against the Joe Flacco-led Cleveland Browns, he showed out throwing for 3 touchdowns, 274 passing yards, and completing over 75% of his passes to blow out the Browns 45-14. Houston would eventually lose to the Baltimore Ravens in the next round, but CJ Stroud was a Pro Bowler in his rookie year and also won Rookie of the Year. And there was no question about it, he was one of the best young quarterbacks in the entire NFL in just his first season, all while missing just 2 games with a concussion. He even got MVP votes in his rookie season, finishing in 8th place for the award. CJ Stroud was a consensus top 5 quarterback on the planet. But don't just take it from me, take it from the man himself.
Mahomes, Lamar, myself, Dak.
You gotta love that confidence. CJ Stroud said himself that he was a top 5 quarterback in the entire world. But to be honest, he had a pretty good argument. He led the NFL in interception percentage, led the NFL in yards per game, and his 26 total touchdowns in 2023 was only held back by the fact that he missed a few games. So honestly, Stroud was right. He was a top quarterback in the league, at least for the 2023 season. You see, after the 2023 season, the Panthers drafting Bryce Young over CJ Stroud was seen as one of the worst draft day decisions in NFL history. CJ Stroud was flourishing in Houston, while Bryce Young was floundering with Carolina. But while that was a fact for the 2023 season, everything would change a short while later. The 2024 season was supposed to be an incredible season for CJ Stroud. The Houston Texans just couldn't miss, whether it was in the NFL draft, after completing a crazy haul in 2023 that featured CJ Stroud, Will Anderson, and Tank Dell later on in the draft, and the Texans would arguably have an even better 2024 NFL offseason, at least on paper. The team traded for superstar wide receiver Stephon Diggs, and then also traded for Joe Mixon. They drafted tackle Blake Fisher with their first draft pick in the 2024 NFL draft, and this is what analysts had to say about it at the time.
CJ Stroud, he had one of the most phenomenal seasons we've ever seen by a rookie quarterback. I believe they're legit Super Bowl contenders. How can you stop the Houston Texans? Can't. Now I said why? Because Joe Mixon's the equalizer and they just got too much.
I want to make it absolutely clear. The Houston Texans weren't seen as just a wild card or just a simple division winner. They were seen as an AFC powerhouse, and honestly, rightfully so. If you combine CJ Stroud's rookie season, the fact that the team improved their roster significantly on paper, the fact that they had a budding young star in the form of Will Anderson Jr. and had one of the more promising defenses in the entire league, combined with the fact that they had cash to spend as a result of CJ Stroud and Will Anderson Jr.'s rookie scale contracts, it just seemed like this team was destined to make a deep run in the playoffs. The team improved their offensive line, they brought 2 more superstar caliber offensive weapons in Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon, and also the fact that the young defense had another offseason to improve. This team should have been one of the best teams in the entire league, and to start off the season, they were. From weeks 1 through 6, the Houston Texans looked like the best team in the NFL. They were 5-1, with their only loss being to the Minnesota Vikings, who is a potential number 1 seed currently in the NFC, depending on how their season finale versus the Detroit Lions go. Plus, their superstar quarterback, CJ Stroud, was elite, just like he was in his rookie year. He picked up right where he left off, throwing 10 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. He completed nearly 69% of his passes.
Nice.
And had an elite passer rating of 98.6. The Texans were amazing, but then everything would go downhill. And many fans had theories as to why this would happen. The next week against the Green Bay Packers, the Texans lost 22-24, with CJ Stroud completing under 50% of his passes for 86 passing yards, and he was sacked 4 times. This was by far and away the worst game of CJ Stroud's career. But at the time, fans just thought it was an outlier, but this started to look like the new norm. Since that Week 7 loss to the Packers, the Houston Texans would only win 4 more games since. CJ Stroud had just 9 touchdown passes to 7 interceptions. His passer rating is sub 80, and he's completing passes at an under 60% completion percentage. Look at this play in the loss against the mediocre Tennessee Titans. CJ Stroud literally pulls a Dan Orlovsky and runs completely out of the end zone for a safety. I know this is a funny play, but this play is indicative of quarterbacks who are completely unaware of what's going on the football field. I mean, just look at the history of it. Dan Orlovsky did this in a season where the Detroit Lions went 0-16. Jimmy Garoppolo does that against the Denver Broncos, and he gets cut by the 49ers by the end of the season. Am I supposed to believe that everything's going okay for CJ Stroud if he's doing things like this? Of course not. This play is funny, but it also does mean something. But don't just focus on that one play. Let's take a look at these 2 interceptions that he had against the Kansas City Chiefs. On his first interception, CJ Stroud literally just airmails the ball to Jordan Hicks for his first interception of the season. There's no excuse here. It's just a terrible ball. On his second interception, Stroud knows his team is down by 4 points and tries to play hero ball and just short arms this ball right into the arms of Trent McDuffie. These 2 interceptions are terrible, and it just encapsulates CJ Stroud's abysmal sophomore slump. But is it entirely his fault? Sure, CJ Stroud has been mediocre this season, posting numbers that we never would have expected, but is there something else to blame? Honestly, the truth might shock you, because although CJ Stroud does share some blame, he isn't the sole reason for the Texans season not going as expected. I know as NFL fans, it's popular to always blame the quarterback for the team's miscues. Like, is it really Deshaun Watson's fault that the Cleveland Browns are so terrible currently? Is it really Aaron Rodgers' fault that the New York Jets are so terrible currently? Is it Dak Prescott's fault that the Dallas Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in almost 3 decades? I know it's tempting to blame CJ Stroud entirely, but the fact of the matter is, it's not completely his fault.
CJ Stroud steps out of the back of the end zone for a safety as the Titans beat the Texans 32-27. CJ Stroud's performance was a mixed bag. He threw multiple touchdown passes for the first time since October 13th in almost over a month, but he also threw multiple interceptions for the second time in 3 weeks and was sacked 4 times. The Texans allowed Will Levis to go 18-23, 273, 2 touchdowns, big, long touchdowns. In December, Houston faces the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, who all offenses can score in bunches. Kyle Fairbairn missed 28-yard field goal attempt in the fourth quarter, marked just the 4th field goal, 29 or fewer yards out of 159 attempts this season. 2 of those 4 misses are by Fairbairn.
Now let me break down what Shannon Sharp just said. The Texans have been struggling, but it's not just struggling.
Appreciate you, Owen, if you're still in here.
He hasn't been playing like his rookie season, but he's been getting sacked a lot. His defense is actually struggling, and his special teams has been mediocre. But let's break that down even further. You remember Blake Fisher, the Texans' first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft? Well, he hasn't started all season until recently. In fact, his first game came against the Miami Dolphins just recently, and his second start was against the Kansas City Chiefs 9 days ago. When you consider that during his second ever start, he was going up against Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and Steve Spagnuolo, who is one of the best defensive minds in the NFL, he certainly got a lot on his plate. Okay, now that we've established that the offensive line isn't exactly up to par, let's address the defense. On paper, the defense is actually the strong part of the team. Going into Week 16, they're top 10 in points allowed, top 5 in yards allowed, but there's one key point, the fact that I completely am omitting the Christmas Day massacre that the Baltimore Ravens laid on them. But on the other side, even with this context, they ranked 29th in passing touchdowns allowed. The passing defense is absolutely not where it needs to be in order to stop elite quarterbacks. Plus, Azeez Al-Shaair is out for the rest of the regular season. We're literally trying to take out Trevor Lawrence, but now for the real reason that the Texans have been held back, they're receivers. Okay, it's not like their wide receiver room is bad on paper, because they're not, but they've been dealing with an absurd amount of injuries. First, Stephon Diggs, that shiny new acquisition from the offseason, went down for the season with an ACL tear. Then, star wide receiver Tank Dell suffered what is believed to be a season-ending leg injury against the Kansas City Chiefs. Combine this with the fact that Nico Collins has been week to week ever since a hamstring injury against the Bills, and the Texans have been very depleted at wide receiver. Now listen, I'm not making excuses for CJ Stroud. As we know, any elite quarterback should be able to overcome these types of setbacks and have his team in prime position to win the AFC. Sure, the Texans are 9,
so Sterlo,
which isn't bad, but it certainly isn't the top of the AFC like so many analysts have predicted. But let's be serious for a second. CJ Stroud is good, but so far, he hasn't been able to make that jump to great. He had a great rookie season with excellent receivers, but now that we're in his second season and those great receivers have been consistently hurt, he's been average to below average. But that's not to hate, because we need to keep in mind that CJ Stroud is a second-year quarterback, and not having consistency in the wide receiver room would be difficult for any quarterback, except Patrick Mahomes. I know he had a phenomenal rookie season, but it's important to keep in mind his supporting cast. We shouldn't have top 3 expectations for CJ Stroud just yet. Not just because it's unrealistic, but also because it's just not fair. Let the kid develop, let him struggle from his mistakes, and learn from them. Now let's see what we have in CJ Stroud in year 3 and year 4. I think it's important that we already know that CJ Stroud is probably not a bust at this point, so at least that's good. But let's not put the holier-than-thou expectations on a kid who less than 2 years ago was battling with Rutgers in the Big Ten. CJ Stroud is a good quarterback, and who knows, maybe in a year or two he could be one of the best in the NFL. But as of right now, I don't know if that's the case. The Texans need to build a more consistent offensive line around him and definitely work on their pass defense. I don't think the Texans are bad. In fact, I think they have one of the brightest futures in the NFL with young superstars like CJ Stroud, Tank Dell, Derek Stingley, and Will Anderson. For 2024, I don't think it was fair to put Super Bowl expectations on them, at least for now. Maybe with an improved offensive line, next year, CJ Stroud could elevate the Texans to that type of contender. But until then, at least we can tell